this whole pedo thing, it's like, is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it. It's not really pedophilia, okay? They weren't trafficking 5-year-olds. It was like they were technically not legal. Big difference, in my opinion. I know that's a controversial take, but that's not really the issue there, okay? The issue is not that they were barely legal teens, which is what it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's pedophilia. Okay, relax.
Want some candy? Want some candy? Want some candy?
Show off your Halloween costume.
I am the child predator.
Yeah, we're gonna need a new name.
Sounds good to me.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home. Just tell my friends that I'm coming too, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
All right, this is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohana. And we have been called to teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the so-called Blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, that we are the children of Israel. And the reason why we've been called to teach this particular thing, amongst other things, for our people is because we've been so led astray. We don't know up from down. We don't know left from right. We don't know which doctrine to take. We actually don't know anything. And if you look at the way the world is built today, the way it's built today is the most smallest thing is the biggest thing that we see on social media. Like, we'll see something that's a beef with Ja Rule, a beef with 50 Cent, and it's 50's people arguing with Ja Rule on a plane. And in the grand scheme of things, none of that really matters. So we're gonna get into that today. If y'all could, if you can hear me, just put a 1 in the chat. If the sound is good, I'll go ahead and check it in a few, but we're gonna get into it. All right. So today's class is called Bread and Circuses. And that's something that I had learned listening to Black Watch when I was watching Commanding General Yohana speak. It's something that I heard early on from Commanding General Yohana. Initially, I didn't know what it meant, but, you know, through research, I understood more, and it applies to us today, and it applies to us even when our people were in Roman times. When the Jews were in Roman times, when Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were over in Rome, bread and circuses, which is a distraction from the government, applied. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to go ahead and read Ephesians chapter 6, starting with verse 10. Okay. You got me? All right, Most High in Christ. All right, I'm going to get there with us. Give me 1 second. I might even put it on the screen for us. Let me see what I can do. All right, bear with me. Ephesians. I'll get the next one up. That way we can, for the sake of time, get everything started.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, Most High in Christ. If you could, Baba Kasha.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God.
We should put on the whole armor of God. Any other doctrine, any other thing that's out there, it really doesn't help us at all. Like if we listen to things that are out there, like, you know, Gilly the Kid with $1 million worth of game, it doesn't really help us, you know, out, even though he said, you know, his vernacular is spectacular and he gives you all this so-called game. Like Black people still dying in the streets. Black people are still homeless at a higher rate than everybody else. We still get STDs at a higher rate. Our people are oppressed. They write laws that allow people to be able to discriminate against us based off of how we look. So do things on social media really help us? If those things are so important, why don't we still have power? If the United States government wanted to right now, they could blow us off the map. They could trick Black people into going into a stadium for free stuff and blow us off the map. Yeah. They could right now, and there would be nothing you could do about it. Right now, Hispanic people are getting snatched off the street, and there's nothing people can do about it. They've sent American citizens over to different countries. There's nothing we can do about it. If we could.
Right, keep going.
Constant, please. And I'm going to get there with us too. Most High in Christ. Yeah, I forgot to bring up the chat.
I don't know what the hell is going on. All right. The book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
The wiles of the devil. What are the wiles of the devil? The wiles of the devil are like, if you look in the blue letter Bible, the description, you know, with the outline of biblical usage, it says cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. We fall prey to that every single day. One of the things that was given to us by the oppressor was drugs. We didn't have the boats to deliver it. We didn't have the connections to initially deliver it. What they did was they put that stuff in our neighborhood. They used cartels and they used a few Black people to put that into our communities, and we were tricked by it. We thought it was something that we could sell and we could make, you know, a substantial amount of money, when really it just destroyed everybody around us. It was a trick. If we could.
Verse 13. No, I'm sorry, Sluggy. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Damn right, Salaki. If we could read from the wiles of the devil on down one more time.
Verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
The devil. A lot of us, you know, in the world, we think of this magical thing of some entity that's just red and in a fiery place with a pitchfork. But if you just did a little bit of research, if you just looked into it just a little bit more, you would see that if you look at the studies of what we've been telling you, even the Blue Letter Bible says that this is a metaphor applied to a man who opposes the cause of God. That's what the devil is in this context. The devil on earth are those who are not only trying to oppose God and speak words against the Most High, but they're also the people that are putting the snares and the traps out there for black people. That's exactly what it is. Salakia, we can continue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna get there with you real quick.
Salakia, I was just looking at something.
Oh, no sign Christ, no sign.
Okay. All right. Where you want me to go?
We're still in Ephesians 6 and 11.
6 and 11. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
So it says the rulers of the darkness of this world. That's not somebody somewhere in a different dimension. That is people like Joe Biden. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up on the screen right now so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and make myself a little bit smaller on the screen. Give me 1 second. All right. That's people like Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, Netanyahu, Clinton, and Biden. These are the rulers of darkness. We look at these people as just separate people, but in reality, they're in cahoots together. These people were on the same island. Brothers have been bringing this out for the last 2-3 weeks at camp, during classes. Cap said yesterday that these people, whether Democrat or Republican, are literally the same. There's the same people. It's two wings on the same bird. Yeah. But before Trump got in office and wanted to start doing all this, this conquering that he's doing, him and Clinton were pretty cool. But before Donald Trump, got caught up in the Epstein files, he was at those parties and is now accused of molesting children. Isn't that darkness? Isn't he a ruler of this world? Isn't Netanyahu a ruler of this world? Netanyahu has so much power right now in this world. If you speak against him, you could possibly end up, unalived.
If I could, because
your mic is.
Oh, what I realized, because I was watching this, pod. It was like a podcast where the dude was going around and he was saying, he was asking people, he was like I'm convinced. Did you see the State of the Union address?
I didn't get to catch up on
like I'm convinced, they hate Trump. They hate Trump so bad. I think it's gotta be unprecedented how much they hate Trump. But it was the guy was going around in the streets and he was like, so, and this is going to your point about the two birds,
right.
same wings on the same bird. So the guy was going around and he was asking people, he was like, hey, do you know that do you know that Trump deported 3 million people? You know what I mean? Do you know that Trump did this and that? And everybody was like, oh man, it's horrible. That's horrible what he did, right? He was like, do you support Trump? It was like, nah, we don't support Trump. And it was like, but do you know that he got all these people deported, all this, that, and that? And then they was like, yeah. And then after he said, no, that was Obama. They were like, yeah, it was right, Obama. Because they was like, nah, Obama was the one who, got these, deported 33 million people, right. All of this, that, and that. And it just goes to show, people, it really goes on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the Democrats, the Republicans, like you said, like we were talking about it on Tuesday, it's just it's the same thing. And if you believe in politics, then, thinking that, somehow, if it's somebody different in office, that things are going to be different, then you're sadly mistaken. You know what I mean? Because just because Epstein Island and the files are coming out, it doesn't mean that they don't have another Epstein Island. Exactly. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they probably got one in Dubai or something, because that seems to be the hot spot where everybody's going right now. You know what I mean? Over in the Arab world. But I'm pretty sure that's probably where they are now. But it's all the same. They're going to give it to you on both sides the same way. If the Democrats get into politics again next year, in two more years, it's going to be the same thing, and nothing's going to ever change.
Absolutely. And what you bring up is an excellent point, because the reason why things are never going to change, the reason why things aren't going to remain the same, is because the devil, the oppressor that's in power right now, whether a Democrat or a Republican, is too good at causing distractions for the people. That's what the title of Bread and Circuses is about. And I'm gonna bring up one of the Bible verses, or one of the scriptures that I wanted to read about it, but I'll just describe so I can, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term bread and circuses, I'll go ahead and just explain what it is. The phrase was coined by a Roman satirist, or a Roman poet by the name of Juvenal. And this person, saw the condition of the Roman people. He was kind of like a Tucker Carlson. He was a devil, and he was probably evil towards the Jews, the black people, and the Hispanics that were in the Roman Empire at the time. But he saw his people and said, man, the government is really making our people be controlled and give up everything just for, food and entertainment, because that's what the bread is. The bread represents the food. The entertainment is the circuses, as they called it. The circuses were those fights that they had in those Roman Colosseums. The Jews getting thrown to the lions, and that still applies today. Like, there are still Jews, the real Jews, getting thrown to the lions. That's what Trump is doing. Trump is throwing us to ice right now, and it's riling the people up to not really have them fully focused on how bad the economy is, how bad the tariffs are for the American people. They made billions on the tariffs. Trump was able to put those tariffs in. The American consumer paid those tariffs. Now the businesses who put that on us, who put the tariffs and had us pay it, now they're going to get a refund. Yeah. That's a con job right there.
Yeah, America is built like that. Like, it prioritizes businesses over the employees.
Right.
And the sad part is that a lot of us don't have that understanding. But of course, the ones that do have the understanding, they put it, in an ebook that you got to pay $1,500 for.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Instead of just giving the game, the people, because it's enough money for everybody, apparently. But,
right.
It just goes back to, like, having the proper information. I mean, but, we still struggle with that as a people, like having the real information,
Right. Absolutely. Nah, Cap, you right on the money with it. And I'm before I move on to that scripture, I just want to, just read a little bit more about it. It says, bread and circuses is not a term that everybody would be familiar with. I'm gonna play a video that somebody who talked about it, but it's right in dictionary.com. Like, the information is really there. We're just so concerned. Like there's times where I go to look up something that's important, and then I see something that I may have talked about. I see something that I may have researched before, and it'll pop up on my ads in Google. I literally for like an hour forget what I was even looking at, because I click on a link to something on Google instead of researching. I go down some rabbit hole and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot I was supposed to be looking up something else. Mm-hmm. Like, the distractions that the devil puts out there for us is just unmatched. Like, the propaganda that the Americans and Israelis have mastered is just amazing. They make just something that is actually like fecal matter look like a bar of gold. And it's not good for you, but it looks great. It looks amazing. Bread and circuses, described on dictionary.com, says something as extravagant entertainment offered as an expedient means of pacifying discontent or diverting attention from a source of grievance. We'll be mad about something for a little while. Remember when they did the you brought this to my attention when they did the thing with the SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden people are no longer mad because now we got Thanksgiving. They turned the benefits back on. They got Thanksgiving coming up. They got all these football games that's coming up. And the Roman circus is alive and well today, because the children of Rome, as you can see, are the people who run this country. Count out of one concert. Absolutely.
Now, if I could, you know, what you're bringing out is heavy because you see, like when I saw it happening, I knew that they was going to cut I knew that they was going to cut the SNAP benefits back on.
Right.
Like, I knew they was going to do it because
you said it.
Right, because I was like, okay, when you look at it, it's like, okay, remember who we dealing with? We dealing with Esau. Esau is very analytical. Do you think that they don't have like possible outcomes of this, possible outcomes of that? No, like fully well, like if this happened, the probabilities of this happening. If this happened, what could possibly happen? They know that if they cut the SNAP benefits off for too long, it's going to cause a problem in the stores because you're going to have a bunch of people trying to steal.
Right.
They already know the type of chaos that it would cause. It's the same reason why they give you the illusion that you have, you know, you really have a what's that word called? You have, I remember General Muhammad was breaking this down. It's like they give you the illusion that you really have
control,
a say-so of who's going to be the president. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that if they didn't give you that right, like they say, the right to vote, and you had anything to do with the president being picked, the leadership being picked, then they know that you would go pick up a gun and go ride in the streets.
Right.
They know that, so that's the fool's game. You know what I mean? Like they know exactly what to do to keep you in line, and they know how and when they're going to do it. And that's why I say, I remember one time, it's lucky, I don't mean to take up the time, but I remember one time, remember when we had the riots here in Delaware, in Wilmington, where people was going into the stores taking the mannequins. I don't know if you remember that. People were going there. Remember that? People would take the mannequins.
Okay, yeah. And then a brother had to put a sign black-owned store on
it.
Okay.
I remember that. And so, boom. I remember, I think that was at the time, I think it was Trayvon. I think it might have been maybe not Trayvon. It might have been somebody, George Floyd. Right. When the verdict came out, before the verdict came out, I don't know if Captain Ariel was with me at the time, but I don't know if you was with me, we was in a car and we were trying to get back to my crib. But the verdict was about to come out, but they had all the streets blocked, where you couldn't go from like east side to west side. It was just that much, you know, like driving down and I'll be from here to here. But they had to go this way, that way, up this street, down that street, back around, and like literally they had it to where we had to go back out the city and go back on I-95. Now I'm on I-95. I can't get off on this exit, can't get off on this one. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And literally, I remember when I was in traffic and I asked the cop, like, why can't we go that way? Like, why we live over there? Right. Why can't we go that way? And he said, we got it like this because of because the verdict is about to come out. So it's like they already know and they're already prepared to protect downtown. Right. You know what I mean? They already know that if this verdict comes out where Derek Chauvin gets found innocent, they know niggas is gonna go and try to break into 7-Eleven and steal all the cigarettes and lottery tickets. You know what I mean? They know that niggas might set some trash cans on fire or whatever, but they was already prepared for what was about to happen. So it was like they're already like 10 steps ahead all the time on anything that anybody does.
Right. Absolutely. And just like you said, like not a reason why I believe that they're 10 steps ahead is the fact that we always say what our plans are loud, but they're behind the scenes cooking things up with think tanks. They're behind the scenes doing research. Like one of the things that, you know, I learned, you know, from, you know, the Commander General Yohana was how the so-called Jewish man was able to take over the music industry with just doing research. I believe it was Harvard. They put a research. It's a war that's really going on, but we don't see it that way because we're distracted by a whole lot. But let me go ahead and play this video for y'all. And let me see. Let me go ahead and play the video. Salaki, give me 1 second. And it's a little bit of a description.
All journalists know that there's some things you don't write about and you don't talk about because you'll lose your job. And that's where the control is. And that's why they pay anchormen like Dan Rather $2 million a year. Because he doesn't question them. He knows that if he goes against them, he's going to lose $2 million a year. Do you think a man that looks pretty and sits in front of a TV camera for the 6 o'clock news is worth $2 million a year? No way. I don't care how long he works and I don't care what he does. There is no job worth $2 million a year. That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
Now, if y'all was able to hear that, what he said was absolutely correct. They have a system in play to where they're able to do so many things with just so much of our attention. And I'm gonna get to Ephesians. Let me see where I want to go. Ephesians 4:14.
That's a good.
Oh, Most High in Christ.
Very good one.
Ephesians 4:14 says that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. Even the multiple religions is something that is created by the modern day Roman circus, because if you look at it, you got all of these different denominations of Christianity. You got all of these different religions that really don't mean nothing, and the people who help create them don't actually believe in them. A lot of these people, correct me if I'm wrong, were what are those people called? Not the Illuminati, but the one that everybody does. It's got the G with the little the symbol. The Masons. These people are concerned with power. Power is their true God. They don't actually have a spirituality. They don't have a spirituality. Control and power and just war is what they love. And if they got to step on you to get to it, it's gonna happen. Let me read something for y'all real quick, if I could. Roman circuses were massive, long, open-air venues designed primarily for thrilling chariot races, serving as central entertainment hubs across the empire. The largest Rome's circus, or Salakia, the largest Rome's Circus Maximus held roughly 150,000 to 250,000 spectators. But that wasn't the only circus. That's why the title is Bread and Circuses. You also had notable venues like Circus of Maxentius, Circus of Gaius, and also Nero, and Circus Flaminius. This entertainment is something that is not, it's not foreign to us today, like weed right now. That's the people's entertainment. Like the government has been able to make $24 billion in tax revenue off of marijuana in 2025. That's what they've been able to do. The government arrested black people, and now they're like, you know what? Let's control the people and get them hied up to where they don't have any real, urge to do anything serious. And that's what I see with kids nowadays. Like that's why I try to play that video with Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, because I'm starting to see too many skits with slavery with people getting whipped in their back. And it's a joke to them. Like mothers and children, sons and uncles being ripped away from their family, unalived and sexually assaulted is not something that's to be taken lightly, especially when the people that do it to you took away every single thing that was human about you. Every single thing that could give you a source of power, which extends back to the Lord, they took away, and now they have us joking about our destruction. We don't take anything serious nowadays.
And then, that's a heavy point you brought out. Because, and it's so right, because the distraction just doesn't stop. I didn't know, like at these, those smoke shops that popped up in the hood. Like, I thought it was just like something where they just, might sell, cigarettes and,
right.
Blunts and, top paper, different things like that. But they really in there selling like weed. They're really like, I thought you had to go to a dispensary or something.
Right.
I mean? Like, I didn't think that they would like literally just sell it right out the store the way that they are. And it's so crazy because, like you said, they done locked up a generation of our fathers, behind selling weed. We went to wars on our blocks that we come from over weed. I can remember weed blocks in Wilmington that people went to war over, shot at each other, got shot, people got killed over weed blocks that was doing numbers that other people tried to move in on. And all of these wars and stuff happened over these years of me growing up. And just to see now that weed is legal and you got the East Indians and all the smoke shops like selling legal weed, which they have like those, vape pens and the weed pens and selling different milligrams and THC drinks and all kinds of stuff that they selling to people and children, right? But they're selling it right out of a smoke shop. And the East Indians and the Arabs are supposed to be Muslims, right? They're selling this stuff in the hood to people, and they ain't bust not one shot, but they're able to benefit off of the stuff being sold in the black community, man. And I said, wow, it's just another level of distraction, like you said. What the class is about, it's just another level of distraction. Just keep everybody high, because as long as you can do that, niggas won't be focused on what's really going on around them.
At all. Nah, you absolutely right. That every time you say something, it just, for me, it triggers like an epiphany or a memory. Because every time I'm rolling past those smoke shops, I always notice that they're like, it's like these bright lights. Like all of them have these lights, and like moths, we're attracted to it. Like, and when I say we, not particularly us in the ISUPK, I'm talking about the unknown of us. And, as Cap is talking, I'm like, yo, I noticed like all of them have these lights, and it's like why would all of them have like that bright lighting? It's almost like they're in cahoots together, but lights is a powerful tool. If you look it up, I just looked it up real quick about the psychology behind lighting and advertisement. It says lighting is a powerful nonverbal tool in retail, directly impacting emotions, buying behavior, and store dwell time. Like people ride past that spot, they might got to get home or get to work. They see them lights, they're going to pull into that parking lot and get a whole bunch of stuff that's just going to give them cancer, destroy their lungs, and stop them from having any type of will to do the things that they actually need to do in their lives. So that's definitely a heavy point, Cap.
If I could, it's definitely psychology.
Absolutely.
Like literally, like that's why they put the milk in the back of the supermarket. You know what I mean? Because they know if you go all the way to the back
you're gonna see
to
that
get
stuff.
The milk, you're gonna see it's a possibility that before you get back up here, which is about some of these grocery stores be like a mile long.
Right.
Before you get back, you're gonna come back. You went for milk,
right?
You're gonna come back with something that you can, buy.
Damn right. Yeah. And then you trying to get out the store, and what you see as you waiting in line, the old heads, We waiting in line to pay for our stuff, and they got the tabloids. As you wait, you look into the side, and you got all these tabloids of everybody's business, and it's just more and more distractions to where we don't know nothing, have no power, or know how to do anything. And I constantly hearing here that we're like a child race. Like nothing is serious or important to us. I just want to play a couple videos. I'm not going to be too long. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, there's an actor, and it was these two actors, the Coreys. I've talked about them before, and serious, ridiculous stuff happened to them when they were kids. These are two, sons of the oppressor. But when you growing up and you see these kids on the television, you think that everything is fine. They're acting, they're being used as a proponent to have us, buy products, this and that, stay distracted. But all the while, they're destroying the same very people that they use as tools. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the person's picture. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Corey Feldman.
Yeah, I know him.
He was in the movies in like the 80s and maybe the early 90s. He was the guy in Goonies. Yeah, there was another one with some vampires and some other stuff. Corey Feldman. But I'm gonna play a video, and there was another Corey. I can't remember his last name. It might be Heidman or something like that. But I'm gonna play a video of him describing what happened to the kid. Block it. But nobody cares because of all of the distractions. Nobody cares. I'm gonna play what he says.
The number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh, yeah. Not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh, yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me till I went, oh my God.
The thing is, none of this matters to people who are distracted because they don't actually get to even sit with the information, digest it, and dwell on it because the next thing is coming along and distracting them. He's literally talking about kids are being molested. He's talking about Hollywood. This is an actor that was in there, but nobody cares. The Super Bowl is on. The Super Bowl is on. You got 1,000. They said there's hundreds to thousands of reality television shows that we just are conditioned to just watch. You walk in a young female adult's house today. All you hear, I can't even repeat everything, but they doing this type-ish. They don't want anything but to be pacified by what's happening. The people don't care about this. They want to hear more about the actors and their love lives. They want to hear more about the actors and what kind of car, what kind of things they buy. Like you wonder, like why would I care the type of shoes that Will Smith wears? Why would I care, what's happening or who does what? Because it's just a distraction. I'm gonna play a little bit more of the video before I move on.
They were everywhere like vultures.
Vultures who Feldman says abused him and his best friend, the late child actor Corey Haim, his co-star in The Lost Boys.
Well, what happens if my mom is dating the head vampire?
Feldman says the trauma of that pedophilia contributed to Haim's death.
There's one person to blame in the death of Corey Haim, and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately, I can't be the one to do it. But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you. Yeah.
Intriguing.
I was trying to find the video, but Corey Feldman described something that happened to him about Charlie Sheen. And it was disgusting. He was saying that Charlie Sheen was sexually assaulting young boys with Crisco.
If I could, it's like
your mic, sir.
If I could, it's like
Crisco.
And like what you're saying is like so right, and it's like the people like okay, the only way anything is gonna change is if people have the what's that word called courage people have the courage to say what it is. You know what I mean? Like he's saying, okay, it's pedophiles. Oh yeah, we all listening to you right now. We watching.
Right.
But then it's like, but I'm not going to bring out who did.
Right.
Like,
I have an idea why.
Like, but okay, what? Like you afraid to die?
He just wasn't receiving. Possibly that, but I understand he's realizing how powerful the grip is, because I've seen multiple interviews with him. One, he was talking to what was that? I think it was The View or one of those daytime television shows. He's talking to an old lady, and I'm gonna play a quick clip of him talking to somebody, and they're pretty much, kind of shaming him as a victim. Like, why didn't you do anything about it? Why didn't you go to the police? They're doing stuff like that, and after a while, I guess the victim realizes, and I could be wrong, but the victim realizes people not only don't care, but the assailants have a large power group that they can't even defend themselves against. That's my idea on it.
So it's kind of like, it's like, how like you see Candace Owens, like she'd be like, I will expose this and that. And it's like, well, go ahead and do it.
Right.
But so it's like, that's why people don't care.
Right.
People don't care because when it does come out, all the names get redacted. When it does come out, you don't want to break it all the way down.
Right.
You want to leave some stuff for the war chest. Like it's like, so it's like people that got to go to work every day. All right, I'm off right now. What's happening? Like, what? Tell us who's doing what. I'm off. I got the time right now. Then you say, I'm gonna tell y'all it's pedophilia, but I'm not gonna tell you who the names are. So now the average working person is like, I don't care about this, man. Look, man. What's the team? Who got traded on the football? On from the Eagles. You know what I mean? Because the minute you get everybody there, you let everybody down. And I think that's like a real big problem. I think it's because of fear. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, even with the Epstein files, it's like, and Thus Yim, you have to check out the Tuesday class. Thus Yim killed it on that class. He actually brought out the files. But you see all this stuff going on, but the names are redacted.
Right.
So you be like, such and such said this to Jeffrey Epstein. At least we know it's Jeffrey Epstein, but we don't know who this person is or who that person is. It's like now it's like who's going to care about the Epstein files? Yeah, we're going to know that the leadership is nasty and people that's up there is nasty, but they redacted all the names. So it's like, who the hell is going to care next time they come out and say, oh, well, they're doing this over here, and nobody's going to give a damn.
Nah, you have
somebody's going to have to stand up and not be afraid of the repercussions.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I believe I couldn't find it at first. I may have found it. I'm gonna share it because initially he wasn't coming out with the names, and then I guess later. But like you said, people might not be interested, if it's too late into it. So if you want, you could mute us, and then I'm gonna play it. Hopefully,
detail. He told me Charlie bent me over in between two trailers and put Crisco oil on my butt and raped me. In broad daylight, anybody could have walked by, anybody could have seen it.
On the set of Lucas, he told me that, it was his co-star. And he told me that it was Charlie Sheen that did it.
That on a movie he had worked on. And then I said, well, who is it? And then he says, Charlie. Charlie, and it's Charlie Sheen.
So I heard that Charlie Sheen had...
This type of thing is the reason why when the wicked rule, the world mourns, the earth mourns. Like, multiple people are coming out saying this, but nobody is doing anything about it. And if something happened to you, if something is going on in your life to where you've been assaulted, just come out and say what happened to you, because if you don't, the next distraction is coming up and it's going to wipe away what you had to say. And by the time you say it, it might be too late. I'm going to play a little bit more of this video, and then I'm going to show y'all how the tools that are used by the people who run the circus, kind of like they kind of badger the victims. But I'm going to go ahead and play it. But this actually happened to, I may have had it wrong. That happened to Corey. What's his name? Heim? No. That happened to the other one because the other Corey actually committed suicide. Got hooked on drugs and committed suicide. But I'm gonna play what he said. Let me see, because
I heard that Charlie Sheen had
if you could mute
he
that.
had said to him, "This is what men do."
Shit, I've personally heard a story about Charlie and Corey Haim. Probably at least a dozen people, probably in my inner circle, knew for sure. It was pretty much common knowledge. I mean, Charlie Sheen was diddling him on the set of Lucas.
But what Corey Haim told me when I was sitting with Feldman in the office.
This is outlandish. The things that are so important, they just don't matter because Plexico Burress shot himself at a strip club. They don't matter because Megan Thee Stallion is twerking at a rally for Kamala Harris. These things do not matter. Remember what happened? You have something to say?
No.
All right, no say. The terrible thing about it is when you got somebody like what's the brother's name that had the big afro? He played for the 49ers. Colin Kaepernick. When he tried to say something, they was like, "Don't bring this important stuff to the circus. We got people to entertain. We got people to distract. We don't want to hear about police brutality." I'm gonna show y'all one more thing. I'm gonna read a scripture. We getting ready to get up out of here. I'm not gonna hold everybody too long, but that was disgusting. That was absolutely disgusting. Let me share this and let's see. You can mute us.
By the way, did not abuse you. Who Michael was innocent, and that was what the interview was about with the police in 1993.
Sitting down talking to me, why aren't you sitting down with the police right now?
I've told the police. In fact, if anybody wants to go back to 1993 when I was interviewed by the Santa Barbara Police Department, I sat there and I gave them the names. They're on record. They have all of this information, but they were scanning Michael Jackson. All they cared about was trying to find something on Michael Jackson.
Who you said, by the way, did not abuse you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if you see, like, this is a tactic that they use, like, Michael Jackson may have committed crimes. He may not have committed crimes. I'm leaning towards more if you're kind of like hanging out with kids. I don't want to hang out with kids. Like, I want to hang out with people my age. I want to go out and do stuff with people my age. But Michael Jackson's face was plastered as a distraction, as a source of entertainment for being a proponent of, child abuse. But you got Charlie Sheen, broad daylight, molesting children.
But if I could, it goes back to the original playbook that they always do. It's always deflect. Like even
Absolutely.
right now, like the whole Epstein Island thing is coming out. And what does Pam Bondi say? Well, look at the illegal immigration. Look at the illegal immigration. This is what you should be worrying about, is the illegal immigration.
Right.
While the goddamn Les Wexner was literally, name was unredacted in one of the files that he was there with Jeffrey Epstein, and they're trying to bring this out. But she says, look at the Mexicans. Look at the Mexicans. The Mexicans is where we should be having the problem with. And it's like, they always resort back to the playbook.
Right.
Whenever something comes out that they can't get out of and their back is against the wall, always deflect to a black person. It was,
right.
What's his name? Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk. He was, once people started coming back with whatever was going on in the world at the time, when he was doing his little thing, college tours, and people would come up and say, well, what about this? Well, what about 13% of the community?
Right.
13% of the black population, and they commit this many murders. It's like, it's always the deflect, the what's that word called? The default button.
Right.
It's always go back to the blacks and Hispanics. You know what I mean? And the Native Indians. It's like, it's always a game that's being played, and and that playbook is old. It's old now. And you're starting to see where people are starting to really wake up now to that playbook. And you know what I mean? And you see it. It's just like that one thing they always go back to. And this, what you're showing right now, is like, he's telling you, okay, it was this person, this person, this person, this person. Well, what about Michael Jackson? You know what I mean? What about him? He's the one we need to be bringing down.
Diddy and the Epstein file. Like, Diddy is being plastered.
Yeah.
All over. They're making all these memes. Mind you, if you look at the government control over streaming and platforms, the government is beginning to have more and more control. If I could, I had did just a little bit of research, and it says governments are increasingly intervening in the streaming market, shifting from passive regulation to enforcing direct financial investment in local content production. So that means your government doesn't really want you to see the important things. What they'll do is they'll divert your attention to something that is less damaging for them and something that's going to distract you. And even with the NFL receives substantial government funding primarily through public financing for stadium construction and renovations. Like, they're investing in the distractions.
Right.
I just want to play. We're done with Corey, but I just want to play the Megan Thee Stallion as the last video. I'll read something for y'all, and then we're going to get ready to get up out of here.
I know my ladies in the crowd love their body. Real hot girl. And if you want to keep loving your body, you know who to go for. Hey. Hey. Yeah. Body crazy, curvy, baby. Yeah. Body crazy, curvy, baby.
There were tons of stars and artists that were provided by the government to distract us during Camilla's rally. And for the life of me, it just angers me to continue to see it. There are so many black problems. Why would you have a black woman? Didn't Thashayim just bring out the fact that black women are missing at an incredibly high rate? And then you want to get on stage and twerk. Now, that's diverting the attention from the important issues. Missing black women. It says 35% of all missing black women, or 35% of all missing women are black women, despite only being 14 to 15% of the population. Dashayim had also brought out how it's probably more because a lot of the time they just report them as runaways. Child homelessness. Black youth are 83% more likely to experience homelessness than youth of any other racial group. Why isn't that being talked about? Megan Thee Stallion shaking her funky butt on stage for Kamala Harris's votes. None of that stuff is getting talked about. All of these different things are happening, but we are distracted as a people.
Right.
I'm gonna end with this. In Rome, Christians, they called us Christians in Antioch. Jews weren't called Christians until around the time of Antioch, which is what Rome had taken over. Don't become the people that the government uses to throw to the lions like they did for the entertainment, because that's what they're doing. The farmers are losing their money in the white community. People are getting hooked on drugs. The oppressor is starting not to be able to afford all of the things that, you know, they used to. And you know what they distract us with? They distract them with throwing us to the lions. It said that the scriptures say the deceivers are going to distract the deceivers in the scriptures. That's what the scriptures say. I'm gonna lead us out with one more verse. I'll play the video on the outro. We'll get ready to get up out of here. Y'all like, y'all comment, and subscribe. And we greatly appreciate y'all tuning in. Give me 1 second so I can find that scripture for us. Give me 1 second. All right. The deceivers being deceived. I had it in my notes. Let me see. I believe it is 2 Timothy 3:13.
I got it.
Okay, Most High in Christ.
2 Timothy. Oh, sorry. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse.
These people are getting worse and worse with their evil. And they are just becoming so disgusting. You got your Charlie Sheen has HIV and was tricking women into sleeping with him after he was taking the innocence of young boys. Salakia, continue.
But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived.
And we can end it with that. These evil men are going to use us to distract the masses by throwing us to the lions. They're going to make us the scapegoats. They're going to use the propaganda against us. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the class. I'll play the video on the outro. Shalom.
All journalists know that there's some things you don't write about and you don't talk about because you'll lose your job. And that's where the control is. And that's why they pay anchormen like Dan Rather $2 million a year. Because he doesn't question them. He knows that if he goes against them, he's going to lose $2 million a year. Do you think a man that looks pretty and sits in front of a TV camera for the 6 o'clock news is worth $2 million a year? No way. I don't care how long he works and I don't care what he does. There is no job worth $2 million a year. That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive? And when the people are asking questions and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor, he sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.